Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Brittany if you're new here, and today we're going to be doing the mid-year freak out book tag. I wait for this every single year. Every June I like binge everyone on my subscriptions videos, so this is the first time I'm actually getting to participate in it, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, I'm going to just go through the questions and do my best to answer them without repeating the same books over and over again. I've only read 26 books so far for the first half of the year, so hopefully I won't use like the same one over and over again, but I'm not really sure because I just kind of glanced through these really quickly. But I think that when I was watching Heather at Aphrodite Reads, she mentioned that Ariel Bisset created the original tag, and then of course, you know, people just do it over and over again every single year. So if I can find her original video for it, I will link it down below. But yeah, that's enough intro. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the book tag. Okay, the very first question is the best book that you've read in 2020 so far, and I'm gonna have to go with The Dutch House by Ann Patchett. I didn't even expect to really like this book that much. I thought that the cover was really interesting and pretty, and I'd always heard really good things about Ann Patchett's writing, and I ended up giving this a full 5 stars and marking it up and just really enjoying it, loving the family, loving the writing, the story, the characters, every single thing about this book. It's well crafted and well paced, and I just really enjoyed it, and her writing is fantastic. Question number 2 is the best sequel that you've read so far in 2020, and honestly I've read like a handful of sequels and didn't like love them. I don't think I gave any more than 4 stars, but for this I would have to say either Queen of Nothing, the final book in the Folk of the Air trilogy by Holly Black, or Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor, which is the second and the concluding book in the Strange the Dreamer duology. Both of those were pretty good. Queen of Nothing I was able to read in like a day, but it was kind of not as much as I'd hoped and definitely too short. And then Muse of Nightmares actually took me a while to even get started. I don't know why, I just kept putting it off because I had the audiobook. I pre-ordered it, so it was like already on my like phone when it came out, and it still took me like a year to read it. But it was really good too. There were of course some things that I would have liked to have happened differently, but I would think either one of those could work for that. Question number 3 is new release that you haven't read yet but want to. I mean, take your pick of any book that I've bought that debuted this year, but the one that I really wanted to read last month and didn't get around to, so hopefully I can squeeze it in the next month or so, and that is going to be If I Had Your Face by Frances Cha. This is such a beautiful cover too, like it's just beautiful. I wanted to read it during Asian and Pacific Island Heritage Month, but I didn't get to it, so I might read it for the Koreadathon. I think that's in July if I'm not mistaken, so hopefully I can get to that at least by next month. And I don't know if I have already explained what this book is about in another video. This is a contemporary set in modern day Seoul, South Korea, and it just centers around these 4 women who live in the same building and are living kind of different lives. And it also talks about the beauty standards in Korea and just the expectation of if you're not beautiful then you need to get surgery and fix it. And I love all things Korea, I love all things women, and so I'm very excited to read this. Question number 4 is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and I could not pick just one because there are 3 books that I've just been really excited about. The first one I want to talk about is probably my most anticipated book for the whole year because this author wrote one of my favorite books of all time, and the book that I'm excited for is Transcendent Kingdom by Yaa Gyasi. Yaa Gyasi wrote Homegoing, which is one of my favorite books ever of all time, and I'm excited about this one because it's also kind of based on her experience, but it's fictionalized. It's about a Ghanaian family who is living in Alabama now, which is exactly what she and her family did. They moved, I think they were from Ghana. They moved to Huntsville, and her father, I believe, is a professor at UAH. So I love her writing. She is such a gift, and I'm so proud that she is from the same state as me. She is just one of my favorite current writers, and I'm just excited to get anything else that she's written, because right now all we have is Home Go. But the next book that I am very excited for is coming out in August. Oh, I did not say that Transcendent Kingdom comes out on September 8th. The next one is Vicious Spirits, which is the second and I think concluding novel to the Gumiho or Wicked Fox. I guess it's a duology by Kat Cho. I really enjoyed Wicked Fox. It read just like a K-drama, which I love, and it's also set in modern day Seoul, but it is like a modern day kind of fantasy with Korean mythology and stuff like that. It stars Myung, who is a Gumiho, or a nine-tailed fox spirit. So she's half human and half Gumiho, and it's just about her and what happened in the first book, which was a lot. But yeah, it is really great, and there's a cute little love interest relationship. His name is Jiyoon, and he's just a really good male character. He's very sweet. So I'm really excited for that one. I wish it was coming out in July so we could read it for the Koreathon, but the next month is just as good. I'm very excited for it to come out. And the last book that I'm really excited for and anticipating that I can think of off the top of my head is actually coming out next week, I think, June 16th. And that is I'll Be the One. That's by Lila Lee. And I'm really excited because it's going to be about the first plus size K-pop idol. And I believe she's also bi. And I think it's on voices for the bi. I don't think the plus sizes, but I could definitely be wrong. So I'm very excited about that. The cover is so cute. The girl on the cover, I follow her on Instagram, so that's actually how I first found out about the book. She does K-pop dance covers and she's really good, and I just love that she's a plus size and she's killing the K-pop covers, because those are really hard and she looks so cute doing them all, and I wish that I was as talented as her. But yeah, those are the three off the top of my head books that I'm most excited about and anticipating for the second half of the year. Number 5, biggest disappointment. I had to really think about this one, but the first one that came to mind really wasn't a disappointment because I went in not expecting to like it anyway. So that was the first book in the Crescent City series, House of, I don't know, Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. So that's just one I didn't like. I would say the one that I was really rooting for and thought was going to be amazing based on the rest of the series, and really wanted and needed to be amazing because this is the concluding and fourth and final novel, and I would say one of my favorite series, and still is, even though I'm just really disappointed with how it ended. And that book is The King of Crows by Libba Bray, which of course is the concluding novel in the Diviner series. Came out this year. I got it on audiobook. I pre-ordered that one as well. I love the audiobooks, and honestly, the audiobook, if we're just judging on that, would get 5 stars because January Lavoie is incredible. She does such a good job with each character and giving them all such unique, believable voices. But as far as why I was disappointed in The King of Crows, where do you even start? I felt like she kind of didn't know what she wanted to do in this book, and kind of maybe was given an unrealistic time goal that she had to meet, like deadline, and I just feel like the majority of the book was just pointless. It was just time wasted. Like, our characters were all separated and just on this like kind of pointless road trip, and then the big antagonist, the big issue, the crisis, the conflict of the entire overarching series was handled just way too easily. Like, it was just handled so much easier than it was built up over 4 books to be. So that was a letdown. And then probably the thing that irritated me the most was just how out of character some of our characters were acting. Like, I don't know, like they went from slow burn to like insta love, and then there's some of them it was just out of nowhere. There was no build up. It just happened. Everything happened in this whole book. I don't know. It was just, I mean, what the question says, it was a disappointment. So King of Crows, unfortunately, I really wanted to love that book. Question number 6 is, what was the biggest surprise of 2020? And like I said, I had a hard time kind of figuring out what I would say what I was surprised by, because I'm really usually good at knowing what I'm gonna like before I read it. So I will say one that I was surprised that I liked as much as I did, because it's so polarizing and divisive, not just on BookTube, just among my book club, among people in real life, on podcasts that I listen to. I swear you either fall into like you loved it or it's the worst book you've ever read and you don't understand why anyone likes this book. And that is Normal People by Sally Rooney. This tiny little book really evokes a lot of feeling from people about it, but I really liked it. And even when I started and I noticed that she didn't use quotation marks in her dialogue, which I still think is just a choice, I wouldn't choose it. But I started reading that and I was like, ugh, that's so pretentious, I'm not gonna like this book. And then before I knew it, within like a few pages, I kind of stopped noticing and I kind of forgot about it altogether, and I ended up just really enjoying this book. I just really liked the story, the progression of the characters, and how realistic they kind of were. They're so flawed, and I just liked the exchanges between them. I liked their interactions with the other people that were around in their lives, and I just enjoyed it. I think her writing's good. I actually cannot wait to pick up her other book, Conversations with Friends. So if you don't know, Normal People is about two people, a man and a woman, or a boy and a girl really, when they start in high school. They know each other, but they operate in two totally different social circles. Marianne kind of isn't in one at all. She's kind of a loner, and Connell's kind of like a jock, and he's popular, and I guess he's really good looking. I keep thinking about the show and I'm just, he ain't it for me. But in the book, he's you know, attractive, and so they decide that they like each other secretly. So Connell doesn't tell anyone that he's like hooking up with Marianne, and Marianne's like, that's fine, I don't care at all what other people think. And so they have these very set roles, and then they graduate and they go to college, and it's like everything is like flipped on its head, and we see them change, and we see how they really feel about each other. We see them fail to communicate properly with each other and others. It's a really good kind of just slice of life look at people as they go through that like high school to college, like who am I, who's important to me, and what matters in life kind of phase. So I was very surprised by how much I enjoyed this book. Question number 7 is favorite new author, and I had to really think about that because I haven't really read a lot of books by the same author this year, except for maybe Julie Kagawa, but she wasn't new to me. So I think my favorite author, or I anticipate to be my new favorite, it's hard to say when you've only read like one of their books, but it's probably gonna have to be Ann Patchett, because like I said, her writing's just really perfect for me. I feel like she's right up my alley, and I am really excited to pick up the rest of her books. I want to try to get, you know, her whole collection that she's written. She's the one who wrote The Dutch House. I love the relationship that she painted between the brother and sister in the family in The Dutch House. That to me was just done so well, and her writing was just so compulsively readable that I can't wait to pick up anything else that she writes and has already written. Okay, question number 8 is newest fictional crush. But I'm old and I don't really have one of those. I try to think, and I'm really not sure that I read anything that is like crush worthy, so I'm gonna skip that one. But yeah, no shade at all if you have a good answer for this. I just can't think of one. Question number 9 is newest favorite character, and I had a really hard time with that too, just because I don't know that I have a new favorite character yet this year. So I guess if I had to just think of someone off the top of my head, I would maybe say Ty Blackthorne from Lady Midnight, the Dark Artifices trilogy. I'm gonna try to complete that this year, but I have read the first one, enjoyed it, and I think Tiberius was probably my favorite in the whole book. Definitely in the whole Blackthorn family. I just think he's sweet and smart, and I like the autism rep, and I can't wait to see him more fully fleshed out and the stuff that he'll do, because I think that he's an important character, and I hope that's true in the rest of the series. But yeah, Ty Blackthorn, probably have to say. Okay, the next question is a book that made you cry. I don't think I've really cried that much over books yet this year. One that I just started, I haven't finished yet, so I'm actually going to talk about that in a minute because I picked it for something else. But I think I almost cried, maybe, in Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. It's just at this point where this girl is just abandoned by her entire family, and then a thing happens and she gets kind of abandoned by the boy, the only person that had ever cared about her and showed her love after her family left her, literally all alone in the middle of a marsh. And that was just so heartbreaking, and you just see her stop trusting people, and then they just prove time and time again why she's right not to trust them. And if you don't know this book, you probably do. It was everywhere. This is one of the first books that I read this year, and it is about a girl who they call the Marsh Girl because they don't care to learn her name because she's an other to them. And this is set, goodness, in 1969, and then they go back in time and forward also. The girl's name is Kaya, and basically her dad's an alcoholic and he's abusive, and her mom has kind of like a breakdown and walks off one day and is not able to come back, and so her dad kind of takes that out on all of them, and like I said, he's abusive, so one by one all the other kids leave except Kaya because she's like 5 or 6 when she's left on her own. So it's sad, but she forms a relationship with the marsh. She knows all of the birds, all of the fish, all of the plants, all the bugs, so much so that she becomes an expert on it and is able to publish like encyclopedic books about the marsh. So it's just really sad when this girl, all she wants is human connection, and she just is constantly shown the negative, the bad side of humans. But I don't know if I actually did shed a tear, but I know it moved me and I did feel a lot. So possibly this one. If not, sorry that I'm heartless. Okay, question number 11 is a book that made you happy. And I have to say, I could probably just say like this series in general, but I'm just specifically talking about the first one, and that's Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. And that just felt like a good old 1990s anime, and it was fun, and it was the beginning of the journey, and we got, you know, the beginning of an overarching plot, but we also got our own little story that was tied up, you know, neatly. And the characters were really great and fun, and you could just picture them on your screen, you know, as an anime. So I just really enjoyed that, and it got me out of a slump, and I ended up binging the whole series on my iPad that I borrowed from the library. And I also listened to them on, I think Libby, could have been Hoopla, but yeah, Scribd. I listened to all 3 of them across a few apps within like a week. So that definitely made me happy, and I highly recommend that. That is set in a kind of fantastical ancient Japan, back when there was like feudal wars. Like there was obviously like an empire and an emperor, but then there were also like the clans, and you know, they all had their own lands. So it's about that, and then it encompasses like Oni and Kitsune and all that, lots of mythological stuff. So it's really fun. Highly recommend, and it will make you happy. Number 12 is the most beautiful book you've bought or received this year. Every book I feel like is so pretty that I've bought, but one in particular that is, I just love the art style and I love the colors. It's like very me, but also the inside, the story is so beautiful. It's killing me. I'm trying to read it right now, and I can only read like a few pages at a time because I end up just like sobbing and having to like mark everything with like a little post-it note. That's gonna be Dancing at the Pity Party by Tyler Fetter. And this is a dead mom graphic memoir. It's about Tyler, whose mom dies from cancer when she's in college, and it's just so far about what her mom was like, and then what it was like when she got cancer. And I know it talks about her mom's death, and just, it's a book for people who have lost someone and they want to talk about it with someone who just gets it, because if you haven't, you just don't. So yeah, I just think that this is beautiful. I think that the art style is beautiful. This is one of the pages I marked. I love it. So yeah, this is definitely one of the most beautiful books that I think I have ever owned. All right, and the last question, number 13, is what books do you still need to read before the end of the year? Ooh, where do we start? Because you're about to see me have like a crisis when I start thinking about all of the books that I have not read that I've bought. We could just say any of the books that I've hauled, but specifically I want to read the books that I've already had for like a year or more. So like whenever it's my turn to pick for my book club, I usually grab one of the book of the month books that I've gotten previously, because for some reason, unless it's like something that I was anticipating outside of it being a book of the month pick, I just don't get to them like in a reasonable amount of time. So any of those, I obviously really want to read If I Had Your Face that I mentioned. Another one that I bought that is just, I really want to read. I've heard so many good things about it, and it's so cute, and I just want to read stuff that's coming in instead of letting it just sit on my shelves. So that's the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I just, gosh, this is so pretty. This is one I want to read. I really want to read The Poppy War. I've had that for like 2 years. I want to finish up The Gentleman Bastards that I have. I know the series isn't done, but I want to get caught up with it at least. There's just a never-ending list. I can link my Goodreads, my to-read. That should help. But yeah, basically I want to read all of the books that are on my shelf that I haven't read. Well, that was the last question. So that's the end of the mid-year freak out book tag. I'm not freaking out because I had on Goodreads that my goal for the year was to read 50 books, and like I said, I'm already at 26, so I'm technically like 4 or 5 books ahead of schedule for whatever time of the year it is. But these are, like I said, just the most fun to watch every single year. So if you do this tag, please like send me a tweet or something. I would absolutely love to watch it, or post it down below if you want. I want to see what you're freaking out about or not freaking out about. Can you guys believe that this shit show called 2020 is already halfway over? Thank God. I just hope that the second half of the year can get somewhat better, because surely it can't get much worse. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out and watching me talk about books for probably much longer than necessary. But yeah, I look forward to talking to you guys down in the comments and on Twitter. And yeah, if you have anything to add or to tell me about the books that I've talked about, please let me know. But thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Helps me out a lot. And subscribe if you are not, and I will see you guys very soon with another video. Bye.